podcast is meant for a mature adult audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to On a Quest, another wonderful edition. I know this one will be. I am your host, Jill Urchek, questing everything. Things I can't see, mostly, more so than things I can't see. Numbers, astrology, ghosts, spirits, angels, God, heaven, all of it. UFOs, I want to know everything there is to know. And I know there's people out there who can see and have that sixth sense a lot more than I do. So this is why I'm doing the show, for those of you that have been listening. And I am lucky and fortunate enough to come across Akeeya, which is a beautiful name, by the way. And before I introduce this lovely lady, she is a golden seer extraordinaire and majestic mystic. Ooh, she deals with crystals. She's a Reiki teacher. She's laughing at me. That's okay. She channels people, and she's just full of a lot of fun. I could already tell. Akeeya, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Oh, no problem. I was putting it out, on Facebook that I want to interview interesting people that can do these types of things. And I was lucky enough to have somebody, it was your daughter, recommend you. Correct?
Oh, I love my daughter. Oh, that's nice.
It was very nice. It was funny because I didn't check my inbox, and I looked one day and I had like 3 people in there. I thought, oh, how exciting. And you were sweet enough. I called you out of the blue, and I really, really thank you for being part of the show. And like I said, there's so much out there that we don't know. And I've always been curious about these things. And I ask the weirdest questions about the weirdest things that 98% of the people don't care, but I do. So, I introduced you. I said some of the things that you do, and you said before we started this show, I'm just going to go right into it. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay, good. You said you see things. How long have you been seeing things, and can you explain it?
I have been seeing things since I was born, but I recognize that I was seeing things that other people weren't seeing by the time I was 2.
2. Okay. So you knew you remember that much at 2. That's incredible.
Yes, you just don't forget those type of things.
What? No, I would imagine not.
Totally bizarre or totally crazy, or they're real or something. My mom, she used to take me, because we were raised Catholic.
Right.
She would take me to the priest to get me blessed. She'd take me to the emergency room to see if I had a fever. Oh, my beautiful mom. My beautiful mom. But yeah, no, since I was 2. Mm-hmm.
And so do you remember the defining moment that you knew, wait a minute, I'm seeing whatever, and somebody else is not seeing that? I mean, to rationalize that at 2 is pretty incredible.
It's scary.
Oh.
It was very scary, and it was during a time, because it was the early 60s, and it was during a time where people, the majority of the population, would take it to a really spooky, scary place.
Okay.
Or there was something mentally wrong with me.
Sure.
So it was a scary time. And now, people talk about it so openly.
Yeah.
But I have to say, for myself personally, the experience itself has been very illuminating for my soul and my spirit. It helps me to understand that even though we are consciously aware of this dimension, that we are living in many dimensions at once. And just because we don't see it with our physical eyes, doesn't mean that we can't see it or feel it or sense it with our other senses. And just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And I've learned that over and over and over again.
Yeah, obviously, we all have intuition. Some people use it more than others. Some people accept it more than others as hunches that you should follow through on or whatever. And I've said numerous times on my program, and I will tell you that I was getting in my apartment, going in, this was about 8 years ago, and my brain spoke to me. That's the only way I could describe it. It was a voice in my brain, and it said, get an extra set of keys made and give them to your friend Kim. It was so out of the blue weird, and I kind of stopped and said, yeah, I'll do that sometime. Well, a week later, I locked my keys in the car, and instead of paying $500 for a locksmith and going through the whole thing, it was warning me I could have saved myself a lot of hassle, and I didn't get the keys made that quickly because I just didn't realize somebody was really warning me of something,
Yes.
And now if I ever have something scream at me that loud in my head, I'll listen to it. But this isn't about me. This is about you. So what was the first, I mean, that had to be frightening. 2 years old? Oh my gosh, I'm scared now.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it. What you poor thing. I mean, and your poor mother. Now that I have a 2-year-old who will be next week, hey, sometimes he sees things, Akeeya, I'm not going to lie. When he was a year, he'd point at the wall and go, Dee Dee. And I'm like, okay, Dee Dee better be nice. Because you keep seeing Dee Dee.
Most children have it up until the age of 3.
Okay.
Usually they'll see things. That's why it's not unusual for children to have their,
Right.
you know, how they have their pretend friends. And it usually turns off at the age of 3.
Okay.
But if it goes past the age of 3 and past the age of 6, in my limited experience, that means the child has the gift.
Wow. Okay. Well, I used to look at the wall and say, be nice, Dee Dee. If you're in here, be nice. So what, so you're going past the age of 2 and this is happening to you. What are you seeing?
Well, the first one that I recall seeing, we were living in an older house that still exists in San Diego. And now it's purported to be quite haunted, which I think is fascinating.
Wow. Yeah.
But I remember being in bed, and it was more of a studio at the time. It was a house, but it was old, and there weren't really separate bedrooms or anything. So our beds were all in one space with the kitchen. It was that far back. And I remember laying there. It was the day we were supposed to go, I believe, to Disneyland for the first time. And I felt something poking me. And I opened my eyes, and there was this little image of Mr. Peabody from Bullwinkle, you know, the cartoon show Bullwinkle. It was a little Mr. Peabody, and like the animation, the computer animation that's out right now. Now, remember, back then they didn't have that type of computer animation. So I was seeing a computer animation at 2 years old. And it was like kind of levitated above my bed. And it told me that if I told anyone that I could see it, it was going to kill my whole family. It was going to kill my whole family. And it had this, like, it almost looked like a lance, like that knights will use when they're jousting. And it was gold. And it put it right up to my face and says, you can't say a word. And it was a few days after that I was with my father, who was a sailor, and he was sleeping in the bed next to me. And I saw this very old, sinister female over him, and she was it looked like she was like sucking this blue mist out of his body.
Ew.
He was turning blue.
Ooh.
And I remember screaming at the top of my lungs and trying to get her off, and my hands just went right through her. And my mom came running in, and she saw it because my mom has a gift that usually runs through the matriarch's line.
Right.
She saw it, but at the time, she took it to a very superstitious place. So when she saw it, she freaked out. She was able to get my father awake. He then screamed as he woke up and said, and my mom will retell this story over and over again, that he looked at her and said, there was this old hag, that's what he called her, an old hag on top of him. She was trying to have sex with him.
Ew.
And she was sucking his, like he couldn't breathe. It was like she was sucking his soul.
That's not any kind of sex I want to have, Akeeya, just by the way.
No. And my dad was a very handsome man. Okay, so
yeah.
The point of that is now as an adult, I know that would be considered a succubus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I read about those. Can you tell the listeners what that is?
Yeah. So this is a brief, what I would call it. They are, as far as I'm concerned, they're negative entities that feed off of individual sexual energy. And they will literally, and you know what? I got to tell you something. Now, more than anything, in 2016, now I'm talking back in 1960, early 1960.
Right.
2016, I see more succubi and more incubi than I've ever seen before. If you go through the ancient texts, they will refer to them as jinn or demons.
Okay.
Okay, but that's what they would consider them. My understanding is that this particular being was connected to that Mr. Peabody, because that's when I started to have the visions, and that's when I recognized that we do have power. You know, the power, the light within us is greater than anything that's outside of us. And that's ever since then, I think I've been battling those, not necessarily for myself, but for others, majority of my life, especially for little children. I have a thing that I do. When we talk about dimensions, is if you've ever watched the movie Monster Inc.,
yes,
you know how they have those monsters that go in and scare the kids and stuff like that. Well, I'm the person that goes in and says you can't scare this child anymore. But they only pick the children that they feel have some great value to humanity.
Sure, they want to bring them down. Right.
And if they can't come through in that form, they will also come through individuals. And usually when they come through individuals, it's when they have partaken of things that have put holes in their auras, and then those entities will take over. That's why when somebody gets drunk and they go into a blackout, okay, when they're blacking out, something else is stepping in.
That's creepy.
So my father was and is an alcoholic. He's on the other side now. And he was a heavy drinker. He was a sailor, a good-looking sailor.
Sure.
And he would drink himself to a stupor because he was out on the ocean for, 3 to 6 months out of the year?
Right.
And so when he came home, he got himself drunk.
Oh.
And when he fell asleep, he was drunk. And when he did that, it left him open to this thing. I've learned that over the years.
So it is true, because I've read... Well, no, I guess I'm asking you. I'm saying it like a statement. I've read that vulnerability is when negative energies can try to attack you. If you're vulnerable, not even if you're, vulnerable, or I don't want to say weak, because that sounds really terrible to call somebody weak, but somebody who's not capable of maybe defending themselves. Well, like you said, children, how innocent can you be more than a child? You can't.
Right. Well, I would put this in there. There's different environments. Our bodies are created so that we can tell, just like when you think about deer, and if they see headlights, they stop and they look. That we have this sense innate in us. But I've noticed in, especially 2016, these entities are running rampant. They're running rampant through videos. Like if you watch some of the violence, it's almost kind of like, why are you even showing that? It's almost like a virus, but it can get the innocent too, who's never been exposed to anything negative or may not even believe in any of this until it happens to them. So I really feel like that there are things that we can do to protect ourselves so that we aren't, because they're feeding. You had to think of them as, mosquitoes like get blood, okay, and these are big mosquitoes.
Yeah, we're the hosts.
As I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And, you got to learn how to protect yourself. That's it, because they're out there.
Why do you
come?
Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I didn't know what I was saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you did. You were on a roll. It's just when you say things, I get excited and I want to ask a question. So I apologize if I interrupt you.
Please do. That's important. Please do.
Okay. Why do you think 2016? Because see, I just have to say, I am not psychic. I am not anything, but I'm very intuitive. I could read people, I think, pretty well. Not all the time, but I think I have a good read on people. And I feel sometimes there's so much crap, excuse my language, going on right now, and so many bad things. It's not like I'm saying it's the end, but it feels like the beginning of the end, and things are spiraling out of control a lot of times. And I think this is just creepy. Sometimes I just sit and I watch just the news. All you have to do is watch the news. And you're like, what is happening out there? So do you think that's why they're more prominent? Well,
when 12/21/12 hit, remember there was a whole thing about the Mayan calendar.
Right.
The world and all this stuff. And those planets aligned. Well, what happened, as far as I know, as far as I've experienced, when those planets aligned, it's kind of like O'Hare Airport. There were terminals that opened that haven't been opened for thousands of years. And there were beings who, this is considered paradise in the universe.
Right.
Our planet is paradise. So a lot of those beings have been waiting to get to paradise. They haven't been able to get through. So once those portals opened up, once the planets aligned, there was just a huge rush of all types of entities. You know, some of them are wonderfully benevolent. There are some that are just, their whole thing is to feed and to, I mean, there's all types of different energies that are out there. So what's happening is that now we have, it's kind of like when you have a cockroach infestation.
Ugh.
And these beings that are coming in, they are not playing. They say, we like your planet, this is paradise, and we're taking over. So, you know, we see the horrendous things that are happening in Syria, throughout the world, and we're shocked when we have all these people who are saying, please give us a safe place to be. You know, our places, our homes have been destroyed. It's not just happening on this planet in one country. It's happening on many levels in many dimensions. So that's why we have such a huge, and we're exposed to more right now where it's distracting our conscious mind to pay attention to and focus on things that if we really thought about it, does it really matter? It's preventing us from really looking at each other in the eyes. It's preventing us from spending that one-on-one time with each other.
I agree with you on that.
I have a rule in my house. It's like if my family's here to gather, put your cell phone down.
Yeah.
Because we're here to be together as a family. Every time you pick up that cell phone, it's distracting your energy, your attention, and that also makes you vulnerable. And when I say you're vulnerable, I believe that probably within less than 10 years, probably 20, you're going to have all types of addictions from internet usage. You're going to have all kinds of psychoses and mental problems from all this stuff because we are humans. We're meant to touch and interact. That's why we're made out of flesh. We're meant to be with each other, not watch somebody else beat somebody else up on the corner. We're not meant to do that unless it's to protect us. But why are we taking the time to watch that? What does that fuel? And that's what I would say to anybody is that think about it. We are all intuitive. Some of us use that intuition in a very practical way, but it's valuable. It's so precious that there are beings out there who would like to extract that from us. For example, when people talk about grays or they talk about, alien abductions and things like that, there's all kinds of theories about that. But I'm going to tell you something. Our fear to those beings is like crack to them.
Okay.
And they will do whatever they can do to get that. So our emotions are so powerful and so beautiful. But yeah, there's going to be an increase because there's a lot of refugees from all types of dimensions that want to come here. And if there are those who are of the highest vibration, they love the children, they love this planet, they love the creatures, they want to sustain paradise. And then you have those who say, well, I'm here to party, and they're going to take and do whatever they want to do, and they're not going to clean up after themselves. They won't.
Well, it's funny because I had my son, I take him to the park a lot, and he just roams. I love it. He doesn't play in the park. He just wants to run through the grass and look at the trees and the birds, and we have our thing. But I was watching him the other day, and I just thought, God, you're so cute. You're so innocent. You're just this little man exploring life. And over on the side were these moms, and it could have been very important, and they were texting, and that's fine. I mean, I don't know what they were texting. That's not my business. It could have been extremely important. But after watching them for a while, where my son was standing, the poor kids, they were trying to get their parents' attention and do all these things. And I just felt so bad for them because the mom was just not paying any attention. I thought, you should really, really take this in and enjoy what your child is doing because they're going to be grown up and you will have missed it, Yes. And I had lost my job. It was bittersweet to me because I lost my job when my son was a year. Yes, I need the money. That's why I want this show to go somewhere. But also, I get to watch him grow up, and I would not have been able to do that if I was at work. So I always try to remember that positive part of it. And it's kind of along the lines of what you were saying. Take in what's happening. Pay attention to what's happening because everything is so fast paced now. Do you how can I put it? You said you see things. So if you meet somebody, say you're at the grocery store, do you see strange people over people's heads? Do you see their spirit guides?
Around them, in them, through them, yes.
All the time. And you can't turn it off?
All the time. No, I can't turn it off. And sometimes it comes out where I'm not even knowing it's coming out. And sometimes it'll freak people out because they'll look at me and they'll say, well, how do you know that?
Yeah.
And I'll look at them and I'll say, I don't know it. I just see it.
Well, I've been praying a lot to my angels, so I'm hoping you see a couple floating above my head right now because I've been doing a lot of prayers lately.
Yes, yes.
Do you?
Well, yes, on the right-hand side of you, well, every individual that's born on this planet, because it is paradise, we're promised escorts.
Right.
So we usually will have at least 2 angelic beings that will accompany us throughout our lives.
Okay.
And their whole purpose is to watch over us, to guide us. One is always benevolent, and the other one's a little bit mischievous, kind of challenges us and challenges our ego so that we can really make choices for ourselves.
Okay.
For you, on the right-hand side, it feels like the highest vibration is like, it almost feels like there's, I think I know Raphael is with you. Archangel Raphael, who's the healer angel. I always think of him as the healer. He always looks to me, and I don't define how angels look to people, but he always looks to me like the guy from the actor from The Green Mile. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah, but I can't think of his name.
Large man and sweetheart.
Oh.
He always looks like that. And but his voice, like I can hear his voice talking right now. And he's saying that through you, many people's eyes will open and many hearts will be healed.
Oh.
That's what I hear.
That's a nice thing.
And so, yes. And so he kind of he's putting his it reminds me of when somebody puts their foot in the door to keep that door open.
Mm-hmm.
And that you'll know, no matter how many doors are in front of you, which one is the best for you, is what he's saying. He's like, you just got to trust that. But your purpose is to heal others. And sometimes people are not just healed by healers or doctors or medicines or herbs. Sometimes they're healed by being listened to or having someone to listen to or having someone to look forward to. That's why what you do is so valuable, sweetheart, because there's so many people that are listening, and it makes them think, independently for themselves, what their opinions are. And you know what? I feel like your opinion is going to change based on your experience.
Sure.
But you allow others to kind of like think and feel like that they're part of a community of some sort. The other one that's to the left of you, it feels like, I'm not familiar with this angel, so you'd probably have to look it up.
Okay.
It sounds like Sandal Phon.
Okay.
Sandal Phon.
Sandal Phon.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that. I've been very specific in this lifetime of which ones will step in and work with me, but that one I'm not aware of. And you know what's so funny about this one? The Sandal Phon is like, it's almost like to have a sense of humor. Bring in that sense of humor, because people, they take things so serious, literally, like they'll dissect, people's punctuation or how they speak things. They go to the letter of the law, but they forget the spirit of the law. And that's what that one is to bring that spirit back in. Bring that. When I say spirit, it's whatever you feel you want to convey and communicate to others.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have a powerful influence. You have an influence that others may not have at this time. And it can change things for the better. It can inspire others. It can uplift others. It can make people laugh. There's a lot of different things that you can do. Yeah. And above your head, like if I'm looking at you right now, like, which I am, from a distance, and this is called remote viewing, which is the ability to see from a distance. So somebody can be in China and I can still see them.
Sure.
I'm not limited to the physical. but like right above your head. It reminds me of Buckingham Fountain.
Oh.
Okay, it looks like Buckingham Fountain.
Okay.
Anytime I see a fountain like that, which is like some people will go there not only for the architecture and the beauty of it all and the energy, but the water represents emotions.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of, when you have it in your center of spirituality, which is right on top, I can see it right there. It's basically that there are those who are going to want to see you, need to see you, but it also is like something that's like, whoa, you know, when you look at the Buckingham Fountain, especially when it's lit up, it's like, oh, is that beautiful? But it's about beautiful emotions and keeping things clean and clear and refreshing. So your spirit is really, you're in the process of really refreshment, rejuvenation, resurrection.
I am in the process of changing. Yes.
And, you know, and it's like you really do have many opportunities in front of you. But I'm supposed to tell you, this is coming from what I hear from the spirit guide that's in your energy field, is that you recognize that your priority, your story, are your children. It's your family.
Yes, that is number one for me.
That's what's so beautiful.
That is, you, my hair is standing up. I said I wasn't going to ask anything from you, and I didn't mean to. I really didn't. I just wanted to talk to you. But it's so funny that you say, too, about water. I like astrology. I find it fascinating, whether it's true or not. I'm a Pisces. I'm a water sign.
Oh.
Yes.
And you know, Buckingham Fountain has all those really cool, like, aquatic creatures all around, mythical ones. Have you ever seen that? Like, it's a horse that's like in the water, water horse, and it's just beautiful. So that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Perfect one.
And you know, it's really when you talk, I have to say, because I'm not looking at you. So when you talk and I'm just listening to your voice, you just say things with such conviction, you know, and you say it beautifully, not just because you said nice things about me, but just the way you say it, like there's a conviction there. And that's really cool. So when you talk to people, they must just love being around you. That's how I feel.
And I enjoy being with them because they have the most amazing stories. And a lot of times when people come see me, well, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I really don't want to know what's going on in their life. I don't want their details. I don't even want their questions.
Right.
I just want to look at them. If I can look at them, it's like looking in one of those picture books.
Wow.
Remember, and you look at it, and let's say you're reading to your children, and you're saying, well, look at that. That's a cat, you know, and look at how the cat's face looks. It's almost like those are the details that I, as a seer, have a sacred obligation to share with others. Now, I cannot edit. If I edit, then I will have to be the big kahuna, whoever people feel their higher power is. I have to answer to that. You know, they'll say, well, why didn't you say this?
Mm-hmm.
So over the years, I've developed a psychic dictionary. And so if I see water enough times, I say, okay, that's emotion. Now, how is the emotion? How are the emotion? How is the water behaving? Is it tied out? Is it tied in? Is it choppy? I can tell so much. Yours, it's just beautiful. It's like Buckingham Fountain when it's lit up at night. Your spirit is almost like you're flowing with your emotions. You know what? I love this. You like a little fabulous. Okay, it's okay. That's great. And it's almost like, but people will come to you. People will come to you. And that's what's really beautiful, because when people come to you, they're coming because there's something they truly feel like is worth it. Like, you know, I know Buckingham Fountain not only is a landmark, but it's a sightseeing place. You know, people are like part of the site. So look forward to that. That's developing even at this moment where people are going to go, oh, you're so-and-so, you know, and they're going to they may pour their emotions out on you.
Wow.
Because they feel like you're their best friend because they've been listening to you or partaking of your talents, your abilities, your gifts, and so they want to share with you, oh, you shared this with me, and here's what I can share with you. Because that's what we're here for. Well, we're here to share, and we're here to receive.
Well, that is just, that is beautiful. I love getting people's stories. I love hearing, you know, if there's somebody you meet that maybe for whatever reason you feel like you just, don't like them, and you have no reason to feel that way, then you hear their story. this happens to me a lot. 9 times out of 10, I pretty much like everybody. You have to be a real jerk. I mean, I always try to find something nice because everyone has a story. And then you find that one part and you think, okay, that makes sense now. Now I know why, you eat spaghetti with your hands.
Well,
I don't know. Yeah.
Your intuition is I love that about you, and you always trust that. Because even if you can't identify it, even after you've talked to the person, it could be a past life thing. It could be an ancestral thing. And sometimes, there are dramas and situations we are reliving that are from our DNA, from our ancestors, from, different lifetimes. So when you feel that something or someone doesn't feel right to you, it's kind of like, I can't wear a thong, okay? Because it ain't happening on me. No thongs for me. Thank you very much. It's not comfortable. Give me some granny panties. Oh, we're on. Okay, I can rock those grannies. Okay, that's it.
Stop. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, if you're wearing a thong, you might as well just floss your teeth.
But you know what? I think it's like, if I could, I probably would, but I can't. And that's the thing that I've learned also in this genre that I'm in is I know what I can do and what I can't. I'm not an astrologist or an astrologer. Right. I have wonderful, world-renowned friends who are astrologists and astrologers, and sometimes they make me laugh because they say, "How do you know that?" I think I had a lifetime where I did do astronomy, astrology, and all that, but it's not where I'm focused in this lifetime. Little bits and pieces help me, but not really. So if somebody says, "Well, I'm Gemini and I'm married to a Scorpio," what do you think about that? I look at them and say, "You know what I mean?" I'll be like, "That. Well, that's just not my department."
Right. Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's the end of that sentence.
You're cracking me up. I am so not going to say anything because then you're like, "Oh no, I wasn't saying anything," but you were. Okay, so do you ever, when you, like you were saying, okay, the guy to the left of me was saying, to heal others or whatever. Do you hear that voice in your head? Is it something you feel? Is it like you're hearing my voice or?
Well, yes, you had the most excellent description, honey, because you were saying that you could hear it. Like, remember how you said that you kind of heard this voice?
It was my brain. It was like my brain had a voice.
Yes, that's it. That's our antenna. And you know how they say that certain parts of our brains that we don't use?
Like 90% of it, right.
Oh, yeah, you do. You use that with your intuition. A lot of that stuff is like, you're not supposed to know that it's active because when it activates, it's for a reason.
Okay.
So it's very natural for you. You're a natural.
Huh. I'm fascinated by you.
Voices, when I hear the divine, like say if I hear the big kahuna, that's what I call it, the big kahuna, it sounds like the rushing of waves. It sounds like a million voices in one and the rushings of waves. And I cannot move. It's almost like it paralyzes me. It's like the first time I heard that I was supposed to go professional. Okay. And you have to remember at that time, I was a stalwart LDS Mormon woman. Okay. Married in the temple. I'm sitting in the kitchen and I'm making cookies and I hear this voice that says, "Akeeya, you will now give private readings. For this purpose, we have come." Blah, blah, blah. I went on and on. I don't mean to say blah, blah, blah and disrespect.
Right.
I was like, I'm supposed to do what? I had no clue.
Well, no, all you wanted to do was get the cookies in the oven. Okay, so did you just stop? Did you stop mixing or putting in your chocolate chips and say, "Excuse me"? Say that again?
I couldn't move. I
would be afraid.
Like, oh my goodness, here's the big voice. But I have learned from the time I was little, when that voice comes in, I may not understand what it's saying, but over time, it always is true. The voice is always true. It always, and it's never anything to hurt myself or to hurt anyone. And that's the thing I would tell people. If you want to discern the voices, because some people say, "Well, what if you're schizophrenic?" I even went to counseling and said, "I think something's wrong with me. I think I'm crazy."
Well, sure.
And I remember.
Right. You poor thing. I would have done the same thing.
I was like, and that counselor, she looked at me. She said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I see things. I see people. This is before they had all that stuff on TV. And so she says, okay, so what do you see? And I remember looking at her and I said, you want me to tell you? And she said, yes. I closed my eyes and then I opened them and I looked at her and I said, well, there's a grandfather figure standing behind you. He told me that you're going to be getting engaged within the next month. And he told me all kinds of stuff. And then I closed my eyes and I kept talking. And then when I opened my eyes, she was bawling. She was just crying and crying and crying. She grabbed my hand and she said, you're not crazy. You have a gift. And she was the first person that I would have thought would have told me if I was a nutball. And I was ready. I was ready for her to say, you got to be on medication.
Right.
Put you in this program.
You went and bought a pill box. I understand. Wow.
I think a month later she did get engaged.
Jeez. So
yeah, she got engaged. Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously you must have left there thinking two things. Wonderful. I don't need medication, but now what? Did you know what to do with it? She was the one. She was wonderful with me. She started, because I would walk, at the time I was going, it was at the Southwest Suburban Family Shelter for abused women. And I was able to go there through the United Way. And I really thought something was wrong with me. And my husband, we're not married anymore, he thought I was like possessed by the devil because I would tell him all this stuff. I was...
Look at me like, so, but it was wonderful, though, because she played games with me with this, meaning I would tell her every time I would come in, I could feel things from the people that were in the waiting room. And, of course, that's private. It's confidential. But I would walk in and I would say, she would say, what's going on? And I'd say, well, I felt this. And she would look at me. She goes, how do you know that? And I said, because I could see it. And she goes, that's exactly what's happening. Every time I would come in, she would encourage me and not discourage me. And she told me, she looked at me, and this is probably when she finally couldn't see me anymore because she was getting married and she was moving to California. She said to me, I believe that your gift is going to help so many people. You will write books, you will touch lives, and you're not crazy. This is a gift. Use this gift for others so that they can help them. And for yourself, Akeeya, so here I am.
Was she the one then?
That was about 30 years ago almost. 30
years ago. Okay, so was she probably one of the instrumental or the instrumental person that made you feel like, okay, this is my life's calling?
She was the first person.
She was the first one.
She was the first person who told me I wasn't crazy.
You poor thing. And your husband, tell me how some of those dates went. You're sitting there, you're having a candlelight dinner, and you're like, oh, pass the potatoes. Okay, try the corn. It's lovely. Glass of wine? Sure. Oh, by the way, there's a man standing above your head.
I got a good story, okay? Here's like the number. There's two things that people do to me, okay? And I just it's uncomfortable for me, but I just figure. There's two questions. One, will I get paid? Will I get laid, right? Those are the two questions.
Those are important. Okay.
Comes to see me, okay? But now I'm a world-renowned channeler. So the quality of individuals coming to me, they're not messing with, they know who I am and they're grateful for it. They don't rake me over the coals.
Right.
But a lot of times people will say to me this, yeah, well, if you're psychic, how come you haven't won the lottery?
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
I hate that thing. I'm like, okay, so here, let me set the scenario for you. My husband and I were going through a divorce.
Okay.
And his father was a public figure. He was tried for Nazi war crimes here in Chicago. And he was a public figure. And I did not particularly care for the man. He was never really kind to me. He was very clear of letting me know that I was not a pure blood, because my mom's Asian.
Okay.
My father's a hillbilly. So my dad called me a Philly-billy. I'm a Philly-billy. I'm a Filipino hillbilly. That's what I am, Philly-billy.
Okay.
So what happened is this is when we were going through the divorce, and he had come over to drop money off for the children, which I was grateful for their lunches. And when he came in, I saw his father on the other side standing next to him, and he was just trying to get my attention so bad. And so I looked at him and I said, I told him, I said, your dad's here. He's standing right next to you. And he just kind of rolled his eyes. He goes, yeah. He says, if my dad is here, then tell him to give me the winning lottery numbers. I mean, he really did talk to me like that. And I said, I said, so if I get the winning lottery numbers from your father, you're going to believe that I can talk to the other side and that he is trying to warn you not to hook up with this woman that you've been dating, because the only reason why she wants to date you is she wants her American citizenship and she doesn't really love you. And he said to me, oh, you're just jealous.
Wow,
said, nope,
he's just a bad egg.
I said, well, okay. I said, write this down. I said, because this is from your father. So he wrote down these numbers. And I said, you got to play them. Every week you got to play them. But they will come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he played them for, I think he played them for 2 weeks. And because they didn't come in, he said, well, this is stupid. She was just making it. She ain't talking to my dad on the other side. He gave those numbers to his sister, his wonderful sister. And she took them and she says, I'll take those numbers, because his sister always believed in me, always, and I love her so much. She took those numbers and put them on top of her china cabinet. That Friday, those numbers came in, $250 million.
Oh, my God.
The morning that I think it was Friday, because that's what I, in my head, remember. I got this pounding, bing, 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 pow, 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 bing, 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 pow, 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 on the front door. I go to the front door. It's my husband. He's standing there. He's got shoes. La, 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 la. That's my real name. No, I need the winning lottery numbers. I said, I gave them to you. I said, what happened to those? He said, I gave them to Joanne. I said, yeah. I said, well, go get them from Joanne. He goes, no, you don't understand. Those numbers came in. I said, well, didn't you play them? He goes, no.
Hey, you snooze, you lose, buddy. Oh, man.
Yeah, and I saw his father came in recently after my husband's stepmother died, and he wanted to talk to his son, and he wanted to talk to the family again. And my beloved, the current beloved right now, says, well, if that's him, he should give you the lottery numbers, okay, and you'll play them.
That is unbelievable.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, I just can't even believe.
It doesn't work that way.
I mean, it's incredible that you're like, okay, here you go. Oh. Hey.
Yeah, but it's a story the family always talks about. And let me tell you something. He has respect for my gifts now.
Well, yeah, because the thing that you do, and most people, here's what I've learned, and I know nothing. I like to talk about this with people, which is again why I'm doing the show, and I like the people that don't believe, and I understand it. I get it. Some people have to see things. I like to think I have an inner faith, even though I'm human and I get frustrated many, many times. I always have to go back to my faith. And when I hear these stories, I just think to myself, like, I just like to hear they're scared. That's what I'm trying to say. I think people won't go out on a limb. I believe people are scared because they feel if they trust something they can't see, they're fools. Who would trust something they can't see? And I think it takes more strength to trust in something that you have no vision of and just hope for the best, even though you get frustrated, even though, we have bad days, even though we think, what am I doing? Somewhere deep inside is that faith. And my impression is, like, people that are cocky, it took me years to figure this out. Cocky. And I think, what planet are you living on that you are so full of yourself? I just can't stand cockiness. Then I think, God, you're just really insecure. It's just kind of sad. And I'm getting on a whole different subject. But getting back to your lottos person, to me, that's funny. I mean, I find that hilarious, actually. Because he stopped playing. Oh, well, live and learn.
And I have had many clients who have come to see me who have asked, will I win the lottery? And there have been times that they have.
You know what's funny about the lottery? I've only played once in my life. Once. I'd rather go to the dollar store and get a cheap piece of crap that maybe will fall apart and I could say, oh, well, I spent $1 on it. And I have no problems with the lottery at all. I just don't even think about it. I just don't even think about it.
But other people do, because it's like, especially when they're struggling financially, they just want to say, I can pay off my bills.
I understand that.
I love and travel the world and yeah.
I mean,
you know what the thing is like when you had said something about you have that faith, that inner knowing that what is actually best for you or the direction you're supposed to go in. We all set up our soul contracts before we even are incarnated in the flesh.
Yeah.
Everything is created spiritually before we are flesh.
Yeah, I read about that, and I've Sylvia Brown, who used to be on Montel all the time, she would talk about that. And I thought to myself, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's why we have deja vu. Is that connected?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And because we're living more than one dimension at a time. There used to be a show on TV that it was the best show when they would jump into this like hole and it would take them to another time, another dimension, but it was still the same characters.
Okay.
In this dimension, it's really important for us to look at what are we most challenged with. And whatever that challenge is, there's a reason for it. Now, is that challenge, does it make us a victim or do we become a creator? Can we create from it? And that's the whole purpose of, I think, of our soul contract is that we can choose and we can choose again and we can recreate. And I always think about it as like with my grandkids when they're coloring, like sometimes they want to use all blue and sometimes they want to use all red, but they can choose and they can create from that. And so this inner knowing helps you to create the best scenario for your life, the best scenario. And there are things that cannot be resolved in one lifetime or learned in one lifetime. It takes so many lifetimes. And people will question that and say, no, we only have one life. You have many lifetimes. And we are eternal and we live forever. And we are so gifted and talented. And it's almost like, what are you going to do with those gifts and talents? Sometimes people, even if they have a knowing that they're supposed to relax this lifetime. Some people have to have a complicated life, but we decide.
But we decide before. Do you feel, because I've been seeing, I don't know if I mentioned this to you when I first spoke with you on the phone about numbers. I think I did when we first spoke on the phone. The repetitive numbers I've been seeing lately are bizarre. The twos. The fours constantly, 444, 222, 22, 44, 1111 I've seen for a long time. And the first time I actually saw 1111, I've seen it my whole life, but one time I was going through a bad breakup. I remember looking at the clock and that same voice that told me about my car keys said to me, remember this time, remember these numbers. And I thought, okay. And then I knew when I saw 11 and 1111 or 111 after that, I guess you could say God was with me or somebody was with me, because I remember something saying to me, remember these numbers. But lately, in the last 2 months or so, and I am going through transformations, like you said, and things with work and trying, do I continue in radio? I have a lot of things I'm pondering now. I want to get a house for my son and my husband, and I'm in a crossroads. So that's why I said I've been doing a lot of praying, but the fours and the twos and the fours and the twos have been running rampant. So do you know anything about numbers? And then, oh, okay, before you tell me, the other day I was driving home and there was one of those gaming places in those bars where you could gamble or whatever. And I laughed because I looked up and I saw 777 and I thought, oh, okay, something told me to pay attention to that. And about 2 minutes later, I see I'm behind a license plates. I swear they talked to me, 777. And I thought maybe I should pay attention to the sevens. I only saw them that one day. It was just a weird coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidences. But are numbers the universe's way of talking to you, or do I need medicine? Akeeya, do I need to see a shrink? Because I kind of feel like all these numbers coming to me constantly are not a fluke.
Well, you said something significant at the beginning of the program, which is, connecting with your angels and who your angels are. There are many who believe that the number sequences are angelic of some sort.
Right.
Messages from the angels. So Doreen Virtue writes a great book about angelic numbers or angel numbers.
Okay.
So, like, say, for example, we take that number 777. You go online and look up Doreen Virtue angel numbers, or just look up angel number 777. It will come up with a complete meaning of some sort. So I'm going to see if I can get it for you. Okay. I'm going to sit here. But let me talk about your twos and fours.
Yes.
Okay. Your twos and fours. 2 is the number of balance, partnership, couples, teamwork. It's a good number for you to choose balance. And when you have 222, it's, it's emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually balanced. Okay. But it comes up to the number 6, which means that your relationships at this time are going to mean a lot to you in regards to balance in those relationships. The 4 represents, to me, I keep it simple as I possibly can, cooperation, and cooperating with what brings you balance with your partner, with your whoever it is that you are partnering with or working with. Balance and community. The 7 is a high. The 777 is a real high vibration number. So I'm going to look it up real quick for you just so that I can. I'm a little slow.
No.
Here we go. We're going to get it here.
Okay.
Okay, number 777 is a highly spiritual number with the mystical number 7 appearing tripled. I got to give credit to this for Joanne Sacred Scribe's site, but this is what it means. Remind you that you are here at this time to spiritually evolve, and you do this by expressing the highest and best of yourself and embracing your unique abilities, whatever they may be, to be of service to others in both big and small ways.
I like how you emphasize.
Insert Twilight Zone. Wait.
Wow.
So,
sounds like a theme from the Joe Walsh in the 70s. Okay.
Recognize and acknowledge the highest and best parts of yourself, and use your talents and traits to bring love, light, and healing to your own life and to that of others. It indicates that you have listened to divine guidance. And remember you said, I heard that voice. It's in my head.
Yeah.
You're now putting that wisdom to work in your life. The time has come to reap the rewards of your hard work and efforts. You are being commended by the divine beings, by angels, as your successes are inspiring and helping and teaching others by example. Know that your wishes are coming to fruition in your life as a direct result of your, and this is really important for you, honey, your positive efforts and attitude towards life. And you can expect many more miracles to occur for you, both large and small. And it's interesting because you saw that, the little gambling joint that had the 777, and you said, oh, look at that, but I don't know if you were really drawn to go in there, but you said, you know what? And then you're driving, you see it again in front of you, and you go, oh, look at that. It's almost like you're going, it's a way for your angels, for the divine, to give you a message that you're going in the right direction. Keep going.
Well, good, because I got to tell you, since I lost my job, I've been in radio for 23 years last year. And like I said, I had my baby. That's a lot of change. Having a baby is a lot of change, as you know, and for the best. Yeah. But it does change things. And let's be real about it. It's the best thing I could have ever done. It's all I've ever wanted, and I'm thrilled. But I want, to get a house for us. I want him to, I tell him, I want you to have your own room. I just want you to have a neighborhood and friends. And, my wish for him is strong. And of course, my husband too. I can't forget about him. But
okay, so let's change a couple of things just to help this energy, because remember, one of the greatest gifts we have, whether it's music, sound, the ability to talk, the ability, we have power. And so instead of, let's switch out just one little word out of your statement.
Okay.
And it will help the universe manifest it for us. Because, when Christmas or our birthdays come and somebody says, what do you want? And it's easier when we tell them, this is what I either need or I'm really ready for. Change the word want to ready. I am ready. For a new house. I'm ready for a great neighborhood for my family. I am ready. Take want out of it, because want always makes you need.
Yeah,
and always like I want.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just say I am ready. I'm ready for my career to skyrocket even higher than it ever was. I am ready. And that energy is like different than I want. You can say I want, but it's almost like I am ready. Pay attention, because, invocation, prayer, it's one of the things too is, I put this word in there too. This always helps. Okay, so I'm giving you what, they talk about the secret. This is what I feel is, it's not a secret. It's available to all. I am ready and I am grateful for
Thankfulness,
you.
right.
Because it's so much fun to give to someone who's grateful than it is to someone who's like, oh, I really didn't want that.
My hair's standing up again because sometimes when things just aren't going that well, I always stop and say, I am so lucky that I'm healthy. My husband's healthy and we have a healthy son. And I am grateful for that. And I'm always talking to God. So I'm like, I know you hear me, even if I don't say it, but I'm going to say it out loud anyway. I am grateful for that. So please don't ever think, I love how I rationalize with God, like he doesn't know. And then I'll explain the situation like, well, I'm grateful. And then I say to myself, of course you know this. You made me your God, duh. But yes, always with a grateful heart.
I think
always.
of it like this, like how you would like your children to speak to you. Like your children, you know them, but they're discovering parts of themselves that you may not even know. And that's why the divine loves us, because even though we were created by this wonderful vibration, we continue to create. That truly is the great artist. So
right.
The divine's creations continue to create, and you are creating like this relationship you have with the divine. Because I've been talking to the divine since I was 2.
Right.
I don't know who else to talk to, but my mom said you could pray, and I remember just talk like you're talking to me,
right,
or to your husband, or that's how God wants us. God
right.
doesn't want us all formal. People get real formal with the divine, and it's almost kind of like, okay, wait a minute, I did create you. You don't have to be formal. Just
talk to me.
Be honest with me.
Right, right.
Talk to me. And you know what? Don't just talk about, when it's like everything is bad in the world, or everything's bad in your life, or you're angry at me. What parent likes that? Hello? No, just, talk about your day, talk about simple things, and the divine appreciates that. People say, well, doesn't the divine have bigger things to do?
No. No, I mean, I agree with you. Even for the most simplest things, I'll think, I always, when I drive downtown, because the people on the roads are nuts. I can't even, when I drive Lower Wacker, it's like drag racing. I feel like I'm in a Batman movie. I'm just not getting paid for it. So I always, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. On my way before I leave, and when I get in my garage, sign of the cross, thank you. I said, I'm going to thank you for the littlest things, because they're big things. Always, thank you for letting me get there safely. Feel better about yourself when you do that. I do.
Yes. And it's been a wonderful journey for me to take this understanding, or these experiences that I've had, and be able to separate from a lot of there was not as much, but there still is out there. People try to really demonize the gifts of the divine. They try to demonize it. They try to make it say, oh, that's not of God. It's not in a book. Are you kidding me? Go look in all those books and you'll find me somewhere in there. There's always a seer.
Yeah,
There's always a prophet or a prophetess or somebody.
Always.
They aren't necessarily, put on a pedestal. Sometimes they're out in the wilderness eating locusts and honey,
right.
But it's just the way it is, and I think that when people realize that the divine did not abandon us, that there is, before there was technology that we understand, you had to have individuals like ourselves, okay, who could communicate to each other at a long distance to protect humanity, or to get the message out. So this is one of the things that I love, and you may have this in your own family, or your husband, or you'll have a matriarch or somebody who has a dream. And they'll wake up and they'll say, I have this dream, and they'll tell you what the dream was about. And they can dream about babies that are about to be born, events that need to be avoided or embraced, prophetic dreams. Our dreams, we receive so much through our dreams.
No doubt. I didn't even get into that with you. I would love to have you on again and do that, because my dreams are bizarre and I love analyzing them. I love it.
Let's do it. I would love to enjoy it. It's not that everything I say is 100%, but boy, my dad used to tell me, you're not perfect, but you're pretty damn good.
Well, no, I mean, you have I just did a lot of reading on this subject because, and same with near-death experiences. No, I mean, all of because weird things happen to me, I think it can't just be me, which is why, you can tell the bad ones. You can sift out a bad egg from a good egg pretty instantly. Yeah. Hopefully you can. If you can't, you better tune your skills. And some people are con artists. I know that, but you don't sound like a whack job. Well, I'm actually giving you a compliment, Akeeya. Talking to you, you can tell when people want attention, people in your field, and when people want to take things from you and pay me $100 and I'll tell you what your favorite color is and this and that. And you can tell people that are just genuine old souls with a gift. And, I would, with your permission, if you were interested, like to have you on again, because there's so much more to you that we can't really cover in the amount of time that I would like to. And that is, of course, all up to you.
I would love that.
Yeah?
I would love it, and I think it would be a great journey for both of us.
Good, because there's other things we haven't even began to touch. Dreams would be one of them. Past lives, which I believe I've had.
Yes.
I know I have, because I could feel like I'm an old soul. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
It's kind of
more ancient than we give ourselves permission to be.
Yeah.
But sometimes we are blinded to that so that, we can have a new life. We can experience things new. It's like that song, feels like the first time.
Yeah, Foreigner.
Feels like the very first time.
You go, girl.
Sometimes and that's what we do in our lifetimes is like, we start anew and we can make new choices, which is really good. But you want to know something across the board, just like what you were saying about discerning, whether somebody is genuine or not. I've made it part of my mission to tell people, if someone says to you, at first you had to have a great session with somebody and they say, oh my goodness, this person knew my soul. They knew all about me. They go back again. The second time they go back, the person says, oh man, you got all kinds of curses on you. You better give me $900. Put it under your pillow and make sure and then short of swinging a chicken over your head, they scare you to death. And that if they aren't allowed to work on you, then you will be cursed. Your family will be cursed for the rest of your life. Okay, this is what I tell everybody, and I do this at my galleries. Just politely say thank you, but no thank you, and get out of there.
That's terrible.
Because some of those people can manipulate energy and can create things. They just know how to do it. And that is against the code. As far as I'm concerned, that's against the Seer code. You don't do that. You don't manipulate other people with from their emotions and different things. That's why I don't really advertise. I just let people come to me when they want to come to me.
Okay.
If they're meant to come to me, they will.
And I was meant to come to you.
Yes.
Yeah. It was very cool, like I said, to first talk to you. And it's been a great conversation, and there are so many other aspects I would like to discuss with you. And I know we just touched lightly on some of them. Some of them we can go in deeper. But in the near future, I will call you again. I will get in touch with you, and we can talk about other aspects that we want to talk about. Because you seem to, I'm also interested in the UFOs, and again, my mind is always in the clouds. It just is. I'm a grounded girl. I'm very grounded and I'm very realistic, but I always want to know things. I drive my one friend crazy. I love it. She's like, who thinks of this? What do you think they did back in the 1800s when this? Well, but that wasn't around. So how do you think they did this? She's like, Jill, who cares? I care. I mean, I'm just curious. That's all.
Yes.
I just want to know the way it worked. I don't know.
I had a beloved friend and client who said to me once, because I said to him, Otto, why do you keep coming? And he would book like 3-4 hours. And I said, Otto, why do you do this? This is a man of the world. This is an independently wealthy man. And he said to me, Akeeya, if I ask you 10 questions and you get one question right, aren't I a better person to have heard the right answer? And I looked at him for a long time. I thought, what does that mean? It helped him, though. It helped him on so many levels. So I'm so grateful. He's on the other side now.
Okay.
Thank you so much for this time.
Oh, no, thank you. I mean, you're an absolute delight. Is there anything, did you want to promote anything? You said you're private. You don't advertise. Is there anything you would like to say, to our audience about anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to say this. Please take the time to pray with your loved ones, your family. Make sure you're touching each other in very loving ways. Look at each other in each other's eyes. And just remember, you are here for a purpose. You are divine. And I am the goddess Akeeya, Akeeya. You can find me on Facebook. And there you go.
You rock, girlfriend. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Miss Akeeya, the goddess, will be back. I can guarantee that. So it's been a great show. I thank you for taking the time with me as well. This is On a Quest with Jill Urchek, wanting to know all things, actually most things you can't see, to me are more fascinating.